So one of my main questions that I wanted to ask you was about the 2012 Royal Rumble and coming back. And I mean, you had such a historic career with all that you've done in the WWE. But what was it like coming back? And in my opinion, as still one of the top 5 comebacks in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Well, excuse me. Of course, the WWF, that was my heyday. And I like to joke, in the WWF, I wrestled Dusty, DiBiase, and Orton. But then they brought me back into WWE. I wrestled Dusty's kid, DiBiase's kid, and Orton's kid. So first I beat up the old man, then I beat up the kid. It was good promo stuff. But anyway, yeah, that brought me back for that Royal Rumble, and that was exciting. Of course, I won the first one, which was my biggest feather in my cap. But I forget what number I was, but I rolled down there, and you come out, your first 2 minutes of the Royal Rumble, that's all you got to shine. And I came out, I got my little bit of a pop, ho, ho. Had family in that corner. Charge on down to the ring, and I roll in the ring, and everybody sold for me pretty good, and I had a pretty good little Royal Rumble. And when I went back out, I think it was Taker threw, or not Taker, Big Show maybe threw me out of the ring, and he had me up in the air. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was that match. Big Show snatched me up. I'm like, Show, I can see the whole arena from up here. He's like, get out of here, Duggan. So he throws me out, and I go back through the curtain, and Vince McMahon's sitting there. And he's like, Jim, come here. And I went over, he goes, Jim, that's a hell of a sign of respect those guys showed you out there. And I said, yes, sir, I realized that, man. The young guys put me over pretty good. I look pretty good for an old time.
It was great. I love it. That was awesome. So kind of going back to college days, what made you decide to go to SMU rather than Ohio State?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. The main reason was my mother.
Ooh, okay.
I'm from a small town in upstate New York, a very close family. I got 3 older sisters, and I went to the SMU offensive line coach came up to Glens Falls from Dallas, Texas. And we're upstate New York. He had a big cowboy hat on, cowboy boots, a big buckle. My mom fell in love with him, right? And I came back from Ohio State, and I'm like, I want to play for Woody Hayes. And my mom said, come here, Jimmy, come here. And my mom, she goes, you'll go to Ohio State. You'll just be a number. They won't take good care of you. Coach Cutbirth will take good care of you. And I went down to SMU, and it worked out great. I had a record for consecutive starts. I started as a freshman. I had a great career at SMU. I was captain of the team my senior year. I was all conference. But the big thing about it is that's where I met Fritz von Erich. And Fritz von Erich comes up to me, goes, kid, you might be a hell of a wrestler. I said, thanks, but I'll be in the NFL for 10 years.
Wow.
I blew him off. And so I went to the Falcons in 70. Yeah, I went to the Falcons in 77, Atlanta. Boom, I had 2 knee surgeries. I went up to Canada with the Toronto Argonauts in 78 as an offensive guard, a dime a dozen. I'm like, I'll call this Fritz von Erich guy. And back then, if you weren't somebody's son, you didn't get in. Jake the Snake, DiBiase, Kurt Hennig. It was a real closed shop. Now they got wrestling schools everywhere. Every city's got a wrestling school. Back then it was closed. And Fritz gave me that gift of wrestling because I was a total outsider. I never watched it. I didn't understand it. And he gave me the gift.
So speaking of wrestling, how did you get the nickname Hacksaw?
Well, I started off as Big Jim Duggan. And actually, I had short hair, a clean shaven. Gary Hart gave me my first pair of red and black trunks. And I worked in Dallas, and I went up to New York to see my dad. Well, the WWF was running a show. Well, I did their show. They're like, oh, big kid, bring him to TV. So you can find me on YouTube working against Hulk Hogan. It's Big Jim Duggan. He's with classy Freddie Blassie. I'm in red and black trunks, short hair, clean shaven. I'm scared to death. I'm terrified. And so I did the job for Hogan on TV. The first big thing was try to get out of the Cobra Clutch. And they call me in the office. They're smoking cigars, Vince McMahon Sr., the old man. He's like, kid, you might have a future, but come up with something better than Big Jim and get rid of that gold bathrobe. I used to wear a gold bathrobe. So they said, we're going to send you out to learn to wrestle. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are you going to send me? We're going to send you to Hawaii.
Oh, not
Oh,
bad.
okay. So I went out, I worked for the High Chief Peter Maivia, the Rock's grandfather. And I met Haku out there, and I wore a mask, and I wrestled as the convict. And that didn't work. I came back to Georgia Championship Wrestling. Pensacola, I wore a fur and went with this wild man Duggan. That that didn't work. I went to San Antonio, and that's where I became Hacksaw. San Antonio to Mid South to WWF. Yeah. So I became Hacksaw in San Antonio, and that's where I got the two by four too. Because back then that was before sports entertainment.
Yep.
Back then that was a different. You think it's fake? Sign the waiver. Come up here in the ring with us, and we'll show you if it's fake or not. So everybody to have 3 beers, he'd be like, "Oh, no, I'll try you." We had Dr. Death, Steve Williams, NCAA champion. We're like, "Try Doc first, see how you do." He
Yeah.
treats
That
but
is
it was a different business. So just getting back and forth from the ring was dangerous. People spit at you and punch you and throw stuff at you. So I'm in this nasty dressing room, like in Lubbock, Texas, or somewhere, all covered with loogies and bruises, rethinking my career choice.
wow.
And
So there
bruising.
was no protection at all for
Oh
the
no,
rest.
they had little rope barricades. Yeah, I mean back in the day, and then people hate it. If you're a bad guy, you beat up Ricky Morton, you son of a get you. So they hated you. So
Wow.
I'm sitting in the dressing room there and wherever, and Brody comes in. He goes, and Brody was instrumental in my career. Brody goes, Duggan, if you carry something to the ring, carry something you can use. Forget the feathered boas and sequin robes. And I'm sitting in this dressing room, I'm like, well, here's a piece of wood.
Right.
I came out yelling, waving that 2 by 4. It was like parting the Red Sea. The people scattered. I
Wow.
got to the ring without getting hit or touched or punched. I'm like, holy smokes. But you know what happened one time, honey? I got this really bad splinter in my thumb. And I
Right.
went, oh, no.
Ah, okay.
My
That was
daughter
gonna be my
tells me
next
not to tell
question.
that joke. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say, how did you come up with the theme, like the entrance song and all that? But that makes sense.
Oh, no, yeah, the hose, that's just a joke. But the whole, yeah, just
Oh, okay.
people, yeah,
I was like, that's gonna be
yeah.
funny. Okay,
Ah, well, good. I'm glad I got somebody. My daughters will be happy.
they will be. That got me. I was like, oh, that makes sense then.
Yeah, it makes sense, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, back then, one man gang was yelling at him. Flair was doing his deal. That's why every time I see Rick, he's like, woo. I'm like, Rick, are your trunks too tight or what?
Oh, that's awesome. So I want to ask you kind of how you feel about K-pop not really being a thing anymore. I mean, you look at the WWE now and you see superstars hanging out with each other outside of character. And for me, at least, I like when the wrestlers, the superstars, stay in character outside of the ring. So, I mean, what's your take on that? Do you feel like it's just becoming a little bit too loose now?
Well, yeah, it's been that way for a while, though. I mean, like I said, I saw it back when you really protected the business. Somebody call it fake, but that had, what a lot of folks don't realize is how competitive wrestling is. It doesn't matter if it's fake or real or whatever. I tell young kids that want to be a wrestler, well, chase your dreams, because who would ever thought Daniel Bryant would made it? I saw that guy. I'm like, I don't think so. But there's a guy that had the work ethic, the drive, the desire, became a huge star. So chase your dreams. But if you look at it as a businessman that supported my family for 40 plus years, I tell kids there's 300 NFL football players. There's 200 NBA basketball players. There's 40 WWE wrestlers. It's a television show. It's more competitive than sports. And it doesn't matter
Yep.
how good of an athlete you are, how good of a talker you are. There's 40 spots. And it's just not kids from America. You got kids from Japan, Australia, Europe. Everybody wants one of those 40 spots. There's 300 spots in the NFL. You got a better chance up there than getting. It's like it's a television show. And also people try to compare us to sports teams. We're more like a rock and roll band than a sports team,
Yeah.
especially by our generation, my generation, Hogan, Macho Warrior, my generation. People say, Hacksaw, you were never champion. That's not the idea. We're a
Ugh,
rock and roll band. Hulk Hogan is the lead singer. I've been playing the drums for 40 years. It's been a great spot.
that's awesome. Kind of switching gears a little bit. I just wanted to check in with your health. I know that you've been posting on social media about it,
Yeah.
and you have support of your wife Deborah and family and fans. So, I mean, how are you feeling? How's everything been?
Good. Yeah. Well, that's why I try to post out there because Hulkster, I went to Hulkster's funeral. That was a shocker. We didn't know because he didn't tell nobody. I've been
Oh,
telling everybody since I've been sick, and years ago when I was with WCW, I had kidney cancer. Early detection saved my life. They took my kidney out. I survived. Now, just 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They took my prostate out, gave me radiation. They saved my life. Early detection saves lives. I tell, get in there. I was scared, sure. I was passing blood. I was scared to death. But I went to the doctor, like, yeah, we got to have the surgery right away. But they did it. And, I'm still kicking, man. So get
absolutely.
it. I tell, and a lot of folks come up there and said, "Thank you, Hacksaw. My dad went and got checked out because you told him to, man." And
Wow.
prostate cancer is more prevalent than breast cancer.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Wow.
yeah, yeah. I know a lot of folks don't realize that.
Yeah, you don't realize that. And
But
then,
I'm still here. Ho! I'm still hoeing.
and then finally, I just wanted to ask you, where can fans find you on social media and keep up with everything that you're doing?
Well, I've got a YouTube channel. It's on the same one as DiBiase and Jake. Excuse me. Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm on all of those. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And yeah, like I said, we're on the road every weekend, having a good time, man. Yeah, we were just up in Boston this past weekend. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and actually, got me and my wife. Nowadays, we stop and smell the roses. We fly in early. We went up to Maine, had some lobster roll. Then we went to
oh,
Salem, where the witches
jealous.
are in Salem, Michigan, or
Yep.
Michigan, Salem, Massachusetts, and it was like a tourist attraction. So my wife, we had to stop and get a T-shirt.